Have you ever felt like you're the problem? Hear me out first. Have you ever felt like you are standing in your own way? You miss out on opportunities because of procrastination. You miss out on deadlines because of procrastination. You set goals, you set new intentions, but find yourself doing the exact opposite every single day. Sometimes we could even notice that we pull away from the people that we genuinely care about the most, or the people that are supposed to support us. And subconsciously, you may even stop putting in effort to the things that you want out of life. And more often than not, the only thing doing you is you. Like, if you could just get out of your way a little bit, you might see some change in your life. And as long as you're standing in your own way, you are self-sabotaging. And most times we do it subconsciously because on purpose we would not want to hinder our own progress or hinder our own success. And we might think we're just protecting ourselves from the what ifs that is on the other side, or we might just be following patterns that we're used to. So when you start noticing these patterns, you have to sit with yourself and ask, why am I doing these things? But self-sabotage doesn't have to control the way that you live your life. You can always break free from any pattern or habit that you're used to. And if you notice that you've been in your own way a little bit, maybe you're setting the same goals every single year, maybe you're just not following through with the promises that you have for yourself, then this episode is for you. And before we even go into the episode, the only way to break a pattern is not by saying I'm going to stop doing this, or it's not by making stricter goals and plans for yourself. It's by identifying the root cause. Why am I procrastinating? Why do I set things and I don't follow through? Why do I push people away? Why do I wait till last minute to do things that are important to me? Why do I not even do anything that is important to me? So for this episode, we are going to have a little chit chat on why we actually do these things, yes, me included. How to notice when you're doing it, because most of the time it doesn't seem like you're the one standing in your own way. You may be giving yourself excuses. Oh, this is the problem because they didn't do this, because the system is set up this way. Finally, some tips on how I'm rewiring my brain to stop self-sabotaging, and how you can also rewire your brain to stop self-sabotaging. So this episode was actually requested by my very good friend, so shout out to her. Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to another episode of Inspire That Podcast, and it's me, your host, Princess. So how many times have we said we want to stop this, but we find ourselves doing the exact same thing that we said we would not do? We find ourselves betraying our future self. We are betraying the whole plot. We are betraying who we could have been. The most common way that we self-sabotage is procrastination. I'm sure all of us have procrastinated one way or the other, not because we can't do it, not because we are lazy, even though procrastination may come off as being so lazy and being so reluctant to do things that are important to you. Procrastination most times is a subtle way to show that we are actually scared of doing something. We are scared that we may fail. We are scared that we may not do good enough. We are scared that we may be judged for even doing the very thing that we want to do. So delaying actually gives you a temporary relief from that fear and self-doubt that lies on the other side of action. But this is just you sabotaging your future, because the more you wait, the more who you could have been remains in the future, instead of you finally becoming who you want to be. And this temporary relief that procrastination gives you actually just increases your stress, because you keep thinking about it. You can't watch your movies comfortably. You can't relax comfortably because you know you have some things to do. And eventually, when you stop procrastinating and you finally do it, you're going to do your bare minimum because you don't have enough time anymore, because you've stressed so much about it. So you're going to do the least that you can do just so that it will be done, and finally you can stop thinking about it. And over time, it reduces the quality of your work. So why are you reducing the quality of your own work? You know you can do better, but you choose not to do better. I see how that's just you standing in your own way of becoming a better version of yourself. And the more you procrastinate, the more you reinforce the idea that you are someone who procrastinates. So every single time you want to procrastinate, know that number one, you're pushing away who you could have been, and number two, you're reinforcing the idea that you're a procrastinator. I'm sure none of us wants to identify with the fact that we procrastinate one or two times. But when you do it every single day with every single task, your brain has to believe that you're a procrastinator. So when it's time for a new task, instead of you to get right at it, do your best, put in your best, your brain is like, no, we don't do that. We procrastinate over here. We wait till last minute over here. And that's how we get things done. So this pattern now becomes what you're used to, which is self-betrayal. Another way we self-sabotage is by bed-rotting and doom scrolling. I said it. Staying in bed all day, laying in bed all day, and scrolling on your phone all day has to be the biggest form of self-betrayal. Whenever we imagine the woman we want to be, or imagine the perfect day, we never go, I'm going to wake up at 9 a.m. and then I'm going to scroll till afternoon, and I'm going to have breakfast while scrolling, and then after I have my breakfast, I'll get a little bit more scrolling, and after a little bit more scrolling, I'll get a teeny tiny more bit of scrolling. No one says that, no one plans that, but yes, that's how most of our days look like. If that doesn't scream betrayal, I don't know what does. We have goals for ourselves, we have hobbies, we have plans, but we just don't do them because of a 6-inch screen. And every single time that you tell yourself, I don't have enough time for this goal, or I don't have enough time to learn this skill, I don't have enough time to do this, there's just not enough time. Wow, last month went by so quickly, I didn't even get to do this. You keep saying you don't have enough time, but let's see the screen time reports. Let's see it. You have enough time. You can say to yourself, well, scrolling just takes few minutes, I just want to scroll and see something on social media. Well, these few minutes adds up to hours adds up to days adds up to weeks, where you don't even know where the time has gone. So you're throwing your time away, time you can never get back, by the way. You're throwing it all away. You're betraying yourself by doing all these things. And the more normalized, subtle way we self-sabotage is by saying, I'm such a perfectionist and I work under pressure, so I'm going to leave things till last minute. You might work good under pressure, and that's good for you, but why put yourself through pressure? This is you currently saying, no, I want to experience pressure before I finally do the thing that is important to me. It doesn't even correlate. If you love yourself so much, you wouldn't wait to feel that pressure to finally get up and work. Perfectionism is just you delaying the end product of something, trying to make it perfect. I've told the story of where they did an experiment on 2 groups of people. They said, okay, the first group, take a picture every single day, and they told the second group, bring me the best picture you can ever take. And by the end of a couple weeks, or I think it was the end of a semester, the first group actually improved more because they were taking pictures every single day. They didn't wait for their skills to be finally perfect. But the second group, on the other hand, they were waiting for this perfect picture. They were trying, thinking that they're going to have a perfect picture, but they didn't end up getting a perfect picture, because what are you comparing perfect to? The first group was able to compare perfect to what they did yesterday and iterate every single day, but the second group was just waiting for that perfection, tweaking at things, and they never turned in any single picture. So be like the first group. Try and do every single day. Try and put out something every single day. Try and put in the effort for yourself every single day. Don't wait till when you're finally perfect before you then put in effort. I may sit and think, I'm going to wait until I'm the perfect speaker to finally record podcasts, but I'm never going to know what a perfect speaker sounds like until I get up, turn on my camera, turn on my mic, and actually speak every single week. And with that, I'm going to become this perfect speaker. But if I just sit in my room and I'm like, no, I'm not perfect yet, and I never put out any podcast episodes, I'm never going to be perfect. So if you're waiting for yourself to be this perfect version of yourself before you actually do the thing that you want to do, you're going to be waiting a really, really long time. Time you can never get back, by the way. If you're listening to this and you engage in negative self-talk, just know that you're also sabotaging yourself. Because once you keep talking to yourself in a negative way, your brain is going to start believing these negative things about you. And once you believe it, you start acting accordingly. When you believe that you can't do anything right and you destroy everything that you touch, when it's eventually time to do something right, your brain goes, wait, we're not the type of person that does things the right way. Let's ruin it. You might think it's crazy, but yes, that's why you constantly ruin things that you touch. Not because you're the type of person that ruins things, but it's because that's what your brain believes about you. So your brain isn't playing tricks on you. You fed this information to your brain. So before we even go further, repeat after me. I am not going to speak to myself in a negative way. I am not going to speak to myself in a negative way. Because if someone else said these things to you, you would go, yeah, they hate me, I need to stop being around them. So why are you being that person to yourself? Why are you clouding your mind with these things that scream self-hate? Promise yourself that you'd bite your tongue before you even say anything negative about yourself. And with time, once you stop saying them, you stop thinking them. Another way we self-sabotage that may come off as humble and meek is caring what other people think. You may feel like you want to fit in, but what's the point of fitting in when it makes you really disconnected with who you are at your core? Because you're letting the possibility of imagined criticism hold you back from happiness, from self-fulfillment, from doing what's important to you. And you're allowing people who don't really have your best interests at heart dictate how you live your life, choose decisions for you. And trust me, we've all heard people don't care. Yes, people do not care. The way you are so self-absorbed in your own life and your own responsibilities is the same way other people are also absorbed with their responsibilities and their own life. Don't prioritize others over your own growth, over your own peace of mind. And the rule of thumb is that if you won't take advice from them, also don't take criticism from them. So self-sabotage can really be subtle, it can be low, it can be minor. It's not always dramatic and noticeably destructive. It's something slow that quietly eats at your confidence, eats at who you are, eats at your time, and it's something that holds you back from who you could be or where you could be. Imagine you exist outside of yourself, because we actually do, but imagine if you exist outside of yourself and then once it's time to do something important, once it's time to finally make a move, you put your hands, you literally arrest yourself and say, no, you can't do this. And you ask yourself why, and you go, because of this, because you're not a good person, because nobody loves you, because you're so shy anyways, because you always destroy everything you touch anyways. Why? And generally, I would just say, once you notice that your behavior or actions doesn't align with your intentions or what you say, then you're self-sabotaging. And I said it's really important to deal with things from the roots. So why do we self-sabotage? I think it really has something to do with trauma and experiences, but it can really be linked to our childhood. If you grew up in an environment where you were always talked down on, where everyone doubted you, where they just said mean things to you, those voices kind of sticks with you and it becomes your inner voice. So when you're an adult, instead of you to think highly of yourself, to really hype yourself up in every situation, so the things that was said to you when you had no perception of who you are finally becomes how you see yourself. So if people said you can't do something, don't do this, don't try it, don't risk it, you notice these patterns in your adult life. You notice that you're always trying to play it safe. You notice that you're always so scared of failure because people talked about what if you fail. And aside from that, if you're around people who always put limitations on themselves, you may also carry that mindset with you. Because if everybody is doubting themselves, in your head you might think, who am I to not doubt myself? Everybody doubts themselves. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and doubt myself too. But what we may not notice, the crazy part about this all is that self-sabotage actually leads you to the thing that you're most scared of. You think that you're protecting yourself by delaying your task or by procrastinating, but you're actually leaving the door open to that very thing. You're leaving the door open and you're like, hey, come in, walk in. Because if you're scared that you may fail your exams or something and then you're not going to study for it, guess what? If you don't study, then you're going to fail. And you may wonder, well, why does my brain trick me so much? Your brain is wired to survive. It's not really wired to succeed or to choose a risky thing. Your brain just wants to survive. It wants to protect you. It wants to avoid anything that seems risky, which is not bad. But our brain now has a hard time differentiating between what is actually a good type of risk and what is bad type of risk. If you're being chased by a dog, for example, the way your body feels, the way your brain translates that feeling is the same way your brain also translates putting yourself out there or talking to someone new or doing a very difficult task. So your brain always picks whatever is safe. So it's now your duty to rewire your brain, to let your brain know that this new thing that I'm trying out, I'm not being chased by a dog. Don't worry. I'm trying out something new. I'm learning a new skill. This is going to help us in the future. And the first step is awareness. Once you're aware of your patterns, once you're aware of the things that you do that's actually holding you back, trust me, you've made a really huge step. Because a lot of us want to be in denial. We don't want to come to terms with the fact that we actually sabotage ourselves. We don't want to come to terms with the fact that we are our own problem and we are standing in our own way. It's easier for us to blame other people or blame other sources. And the second thing is, believe that everything good is going to happen to you. Why? Because life is easier once you have faith in yourself. Life is easier once you believe that there are good things coming your way. It's easier for you to put in the effort. It's easier for you to show up. It's easier for you to be happy once you have a very optimistic look on life. Because being optimistic actually makes you put in the effort. And once you put in the effort, getting your desired result is easier than if you are just being so negative and if you actually don't put in any efforts. And the next one, which I really stand on, is don't believe everything you think. Just because it popped up in your head doesn't mean that it's true. Just because you always doubt yourself or just because you think that you can't make big decisions, it doesn't mean that it's true. It doesn't mean that you actually can't make big decisions. If you feel like you have a track record of messing things up and, well, every big decision that you made always got ruined or it wasn't in your best interest or you always regretted every decision that you made, well, take it as a challenge to prove yourself otherwise. Nobody said life will be easy anyways, so take it as a challenge. Okay, I have a track record of making bad decisions. Now it's time to tell myself myself that I am good at making decisions. I am good at making big decisions that I would not regret in future. I don't have to keep doubting myself. I don't have to keep second guessing myself. I don't have to call up someone else to make a decision for me. Because the thing is that once we start relying on other people to make decisions for us, we may not always be satisfied with their decision just because we don't trust ourselves enough. We're just going with whatever they say. And the thing about this is that at first it may seem cool, always calling up someone to tell you what to do, but over time you may not really be satisfied with your life. Over time, when you've invited these people in every decision that you've made and they want to tell you something that you don't really feel comfortable with, you feel so much discomfort in going against what they are saying. But even if that discomfort is actually you choosing yourself finally, because you've been neglecting yourself, you've been neglecting your needs. So you making that big decision, it seems scary because, this is the first time that you're doing it. It feels scary because it's new to you. Your brain doesn't know how this should feel. So it feels like it's being chased by a dog, but it's not. So just calm down and know that everything is a risk either ways. And you can't keep playing it safe, because playing it safe never leads to a good story. Playing it safe may not actually satisfy our needs. So this is your sign to be one of those people that just believe that everything good will happen to them. Be one of those people that just believe that they are going to make it. If you feel like, some people make it and some people don't, just believe that you'll be part of the people that will make it, because there is no benefit. I can sit here all day and I can think about one benefit of believing that you're not going to make it, and there is no benefit at all. But I could also sit here and think about the benefit of believing that you would make it, and there is so much there. So whether you think that you're super lazy, you think that you're not confident enough to do things, you don't have to believe it. Just know that this is a thought, and every single hour I spend conscious, I'm going to try and change those thoughts. I'm going to look for proof that those thoughts are not true. And the next one I would say on how we can rewire our brain is to write out the complete opposite, because what we write, we actually remember it more than just sitting and thinking. So if you believe that you can't make big decisions, tell yourself, you know what, I can make big decisions on my own. If you think that you're not confident, you know what, I'm a very confident person. I talk to people easily, because like I said, our brain relies on evidence. So once you write it out, you start believing it, you start to believe in yourself, you start hyping up yourself, because you're just changing the way your brain thinks. And the last one I would say is to make identity shifts. So don't say, okay, I've listened to this podcast from Inspire That podcast, and Princess said that we should try our best. Don't try, do it. Don't say, I'm trying to stop self-sabotaging, I'm trying to stop my negative self-talk. No, I am not someone who self-sabotages, even though you quite literally did this morning. But stop identifying with that trying, because the thing is that once you say you're trying, you can keep trying and trying and trying, and weeks would pass you by, months would pass you by. You just stay in the state of I'm trying. Just say I don't self-sabotage, and once it's time to do something, you know that you're someone that doesn't self-sabotage anyways, so you're not going to self-sabotage. It's literally easy like that. For example, if I'm someone that always procrastinated my podcast, I always dread filming, I can say, I'm trying, I'm trying to stop procrastinating, I'm trying to be consistent, I'm trying to be disciplined. Once it's time, since I'm trying, you're like, I'll try harder next time. But if I tell myself, you know what, I'm a disciplined person, I always record podcasts weekly, I don't miss a day. Once it's time to record the podcast, best believe I'm going to record it, because I believe that I'm the type of person that doesn't miss a day. It may sound a bit harsh, because making that jump seems really extreme. Like, am I sure I can make this jump? It's not better that I take a few steps? But it's like, no, you can make the jump. Just ask yourself, what do you believe about you? Because you would act accordingly. So if you saw yourself in any part of this episode or any part of the examples that I gave, I hope you don't feel guilty or called out, because we have all self-sabotage at some point in our life. It's just our brains were protecting us from what could have been. But we don't have to be afraid of what could be. And you don't need to fix all your self-sabotaging habits at once. Literally take it step by step, a day at a time, one pattern as you notice it. Because even noticing these patterns is a very big step in finally breaking free from them. So it's time to get out of your own way, and I'll see you in my next week's episode.